Hi there, welcome to Nonsense Whisky. My name is PF, and on today's episode we're going to be heading back to Kavalan. Now, I have only covered one Kavalan in the past, and that is thanks to my main man Daniel Brown, who lives over in Taiwan. American guy, lives over in Taiwan with his family, and he's now sent me two packages. This came in the first one with the other Kavalan that I covered quite a while ago now, actually. He's actually sent me another package since, but we'll talk about that at the end of this video. So I've got a little bit of a surprise for you if you wait a touch. But onto this itself, though, there's a very good reason why I haven't covered many Kavalans in the past. There's two reasons, in fact. One, they are very expensive. A little bit out of my price range, especially when I can get so much good stuff for a lot less. I don't tend to be searching them out. In fact, I'll go as far as say three reasons. The second one, availability. Once they're released, they tend to be gone pretty quickly over here because they're so rare and exclusive. The Solace range especially, once they're gone, they're gone. And thirdly, because whenever I have tried some of the Solace ones, and I haven't tried many, I'll be brutally honest, I've not been that keen on what I've tried. I find sherry cask stuff a little bit of a put off anyway, because I get a lot of sulphur in things like that. But again, I'm very aware that that is just me and a very select few people who are plagued with that tasting vibe. I would never presume to say that it's a bonus to me whatsoever that I taste it. I hate that I get this kind of gunpowdery sulphuriness on some whiskies. So when I've tried Kavalans in the past, I've got this, and it's really put me off like dropping lots of money onto a Kavalan that I don't know anything about. Bringing me back down to this, the reason why I've got this is because Dan Brown wants me to try some more Kavalans. This is not a Solist. That's the key thing you need to know here. What we have today is the Kavalan Single Malt Whisky Wine Oak 54%. This is a 50ml sample. So you can see, if you can see, Kavalan Wine Oak. Now the weird thing about this is I can't get this in the UK. I did have a little click around. Usually the websites that I go on have a sold out to something that was available. I've never seen this available in the UK. I've seen other territories have this. I know Mark at Whiskey Whistle, for instance, has done his review on this. He had a really cool set, a good few years ago now, but he had a cool set of all these different oaks. One of the things that we know about this is that it's probably a blending or vatting, if you like, of the Solist range. So, for instance, this one is wine oak, so it's probably akin to the Vino Barriques. Have to say I've never tried a Vino Barrique. They're very high ABVs. I've seen them at like 57 to almost 60% sometimes. But these are all very young whiskies. That's what you have to know about Kavalan. The climate in Taiwan is, I imagine, I've never been, but I imagine it's very hot, very humid. So they can accelerate aging in oak. The problem that they have is that, in my humble opinion, is that they have a very fine line between a gorgeous, really nice tasting, simulated aged whiskey and a reasonably aged whiskey in terms of years that we would know, but then over oaked. Some of their drams that I've tried in the past that other people have absolutely loved, I have found them to be far over oaked, and it's almost like I'm drinking the wood itself, which to some people probably really enjoy that, right? Because it's like Pete is a great example. Most people who I talk to that don't drink whiskey can't even imagine that I would want to try something that tastes like earth and dirt and burning and things like that, but I do love it. So there you go. In that case, I'll move on to this specifically, and to say I can't get it, I don't know how much it costs. So my traditional tasting vibes of value are kind of out the window here. I don't know how much this costs. So I'm going to get into the tasting, but we're going to take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt because, for instance, if this is £200, then I'm probably going to say it's not worth the value, even if it is good value. But, if you get it for cheap, then even better. Let's get on to the tasting. On the nose, then. Now, this really does have a glorious nose. I am a big fan of wine finishes at the moment. Oh, it really is good. There's loads of oak on this. Like I said earlier, they have a danger of over oaking, but this is the right kind of like bourbon oak that I like. You know, that kind of really, I mean, you can see the colour of this thing. It's natural colour. God knows how many years this has been in a cask. Probably not that many. But we're getting those oaks, those tannins that come with the oaks, the kind of leatheriness you get from it. But this has also got some tropical flavours to it. Bananas, that sort of thing. Dare I say a little dark sugar, a little brown sugar. Dark sugar? A little brown sugar in there as well. That kind of Demerara sugar. Let's try on the palate. Now this is a thick, viscous whiskey. Especially towards the back end of that, you're getting these super kind of spices coming out of nowhere. And my mouth is just like absolutely salivating over it. There's so much going on. Bags of oak are coming through again. It's exactly the right side of that over oaked I was talking about earlier. It's definitely not over oaked. It's very oaked. So if you're not into that kind of bold flavour that you like, if you're a Scotch drinker, if you like those bold flavours, this would be for you. If you don't like those bold flavours, if you like the easy drinking stuff, for instance, I covered the Tommental recently. If that's your bag, this might be a bit much for you. But that mixed with the 54%, which is a beautiful ABV. Love that ABV. It's a really good, well-rounded package, to be fair. Some people have said this is quite youthful, and it probably is quite youthful, but for me, I'm not getting those vibes. The oak and the ABV are kind of overshadowing any doubts I have on the age. There's no flavours in there to kind of indicate that. And as I said earlier, the spiciness on the back end, kind of pepperiness, bit of dried fruits coming through as it's disappearing. On the back end, I have to say, on the end of the finish, although it's quite long, it's quite drying as well. And I do find that a lot on the kind of wine cask stuff. Very drying on the back end, but not necessarily in a bad way. It just makes me want to drink a little bit more. Like, I'm salivating just thinking about drinking a bit more of this. It's really tasty. Now, I have to say, now that I'm trying stuff like this, I'm having a new perspective on Kavalan. And I have been actively avoiding it. Maybe not active is the right word, but if I see two bottles next to each other, and one's a Kavalan and one isn't, I'm probably going to go for the one that isn't if it's something that I've been after for a while. That said, opportunity presents itself. I will try a Kavalan. I'm not averse to them in any way, shape or form. I should really go to more tastings about Kavalans, especially now I've tried this and the other one. I mean, the Distillery Select. It wasn't my favourite whiskey by a long shot. Very cheap in comparison. Very quick made whiskey. This has got a lot more care placed in it, and I appreciate that. A lot more flavour. Appreciate that as well. So I have to say a massive thank you to Dan Brown for sending me this, because this has really helped open my eyes to what I'm missing out with Kavalan. And I may have just tried a couple of whiskies that I didn't like from their range beforehand, and maybe, just maybe, I'll like a few more. Now, earlier on, I said I've got a little bit of a surprise for you. It isn't in this video. I thought I would just keep this video towards Kavalan, but he also sent me a box full of Taiwanese treaties. So I'm going to stop the camera in a moment, and I'm going to record that as well, but I'm going to do that as a separate video, and I'll probably release that directly after this. So if you are interested in checking out me trying some sweets, I have no idea what they are, can't read that. I thought that would be a little bit of fun to try with a little bit of tasting with this. Check that video out straight after this one. Thank you for watching.